is going to involve 6 questions. Okay? I will give you a picture similar to what your worksheet looked like. The angles will be numbered. It's up to you. So this is the deal. I will ask you for the type of angles. I will ask you for the relationship, and I need that in sentence form like you were supposed to do last night. And I will ask you for the letter that they form. So for example, if I said angles, angle 3 and angle 6, all right, what letter do they form? They form a Z. So Maria has the letter already. If they form a Z, what type of angles are they? Alternate interior angles. So that would be the answer to 1. Alternate interior angles. They form a Z. And the relationship is if lines parallel, alternate interior angles equal or congruent, I will accept either one. So the 4 on your foldable, you need to know. What else am I doing as we were going through today's lesson in period 1? If I were to trace 6 and 8, what letter is formed? An X. So X's form what kind of angles? Vertical angles. And if you downloaded that spreadsheet, what's the justification for vertical angles? Mackenzie's got it. Vertical angles are equal or congruent, whatever you so choose. All right. Yes. You have homework tonight. You always have homework.
It's like crossed out.
It's not crossed out. That's 1/8. 1/8. You have to know the 4 on your foldable. You have to know vertical angles. And you have to know linear pair. What letter do the linear pair angles form? 1 and 2. It's an upside down T. So angles 1 and angle 2 form a T. And I want you to think of not a perpendicular, but kind of that kind of T. And so there's the angles. They are a linear pair. And what on your spreadsheet tells you the justification is? What does it say? Linear pair angles are supplementary, or you could say add to 180, up to you. But those are your 6 questions. The purpose of this is to make you study now, because if you don't know these, then I might as well just be quiet for the rest of the week and give you a test, because you're not going to know what I'm doing. Okay, you are going to be having a test on Chapter 3 when we're finished. That will be before the end of the 6 weeks. If you need to pull up your grade, that will be an excellent way to do it. 9 weeks. I will also be offering an optional 9 weeks test that will be taken on a Friday after school. It will not be this Friday, but it will be next Friday. That can replace a low test score. The way this works is you come in, you take the test, and then you make a decision. You either tell me to grade it, or you tell me to throw it away. If I throw it away, your grade stands as it is. If I grade it, regardless of whether it's better or worse, it replaces your lowest test score. It lowers it, that's correct. But you have already taken the test. So you should be able to tell me whether you want me to grade it or not. So if you come in here without studying to take that 9 weeks test, you might as well stay home. Okay? But and I will let you know the test objectives. All right. So questions on homework.
Oh, yes.
Wendy has her hand up. What one would you like? 19. Am I correct when I draw a picture something like this? Is that 19? That I believe they told us this was X. They told us this is 3y, and they told us was y. Am I right? you should, all year, you should be always on the lookout for these parallel symbols. All right, when you see those parallel symbols, that's almost telling you that you need to look for those special alternate interior, alternate exterior corresponding, and same side interior. So let's start with x and y. If I were to trace the sides of x and y, what letters formed? A T. What does that mean x and y are? They're a linear pair. That's the name of the angles. The relationship would be linear pair angles are what? Pair angle supplementary, or you could say add to 180. This is 19 on the book, okay, not on the worksheet. Add to 180. So that means that what equation would you write? X plus y equals 180. Now, we can't solve this because we don't know x or y. We have two unknowns. So now what we're going to do is we are going to trace x. There's x. And we're going to trace, those are the sides of x, these are the sides of 3y. What do x and 3y form? An F. So what kind of angles form an F? Corresponding. And then you will tell me what's the relationship. If lines are parallel, corresponding angles are congruent. Yes?
In the first one, you just put linear pair, add to 180, but the third one, and the second one on the, like,
Because linear pair angles do not need parallel lines. Only corresponding alternate interior, alternate exterior, and same side require parallel. All right, so what does that mean you're going to do to x and 3y? They're congruent. X equals 3y. All right, so let me ask you something. If x equals 3y, right? Can I remove the x here and insert 3y in its place? So now this becomes 3y plus y equals 180, or 4y equals 180, or y equals 45. Now, how are we going to get x? You could get x here, or you could get x up there. What do you want to use? The bottom one. Elber used the bottom one. So we're going to say x is equal to 3 times 45, or x is 135. If you use the top one, you're going to say, what was it? Y is 45. So you're going to say x is equal to 180 minus 45, which is 135. Okay. Yes? Okay, 20. Does anybody have the picture to 20, or does anybody have a book open? Anybody have a book? We didn't do 20 last period, so I don't know what its picture looks like. Thank you, Madison. I appreciate this. She was prepared. I like prepared students. All right, 20. Wow. 20's got a lot going on. Okay, so let's look. And it is these pictures that the letters are so important in order to see. All right, so they gave us two diagonals. Do you all know what a diagonal is?
Yeah.
Okay, of a figure. They did double little arrows here, meaning that that line is parallel to that line. And they did single arrows here, whoa, meaning those are parallel. They have told us that this is 42. They have told us that this is W. This is Y. This is 87. This is X. This is Y. This is 20, and this is V. So let's start with 42. I'm going to trace the sides of 42. Because I want to try to form a Z. What do we know with Z's?
Oh, and
You see the Z?
no.
Do you want to make it bigger?
No, if I meant like one of the
Do you see the V? Do you see the Z?
Yes.
Okay, the Z. So what kind of angles are on a Z? Alternate interior angles, all right, are in the Z. What's the relationship for alternate interior?
They're congruent.
If, what do you have to write? Lines,
Lines are parallel.
alternate interior angles congruent. All right. I'll accept either. So now what equation do you write, Elber?
I did 42 equals y.
42 equals v. So we know that this is 42. All right, do you think we can form another z?
Yes.
Okay, what if I trace this side to this side to this side? Is that another z? So I have alternate interior angles again. I have the same reason, but now who's equal? X is equal to 87. So now I know this is 87. I know that, what, V is 42. Are there any other Z's we could form?
Yeah.
Okay, what if I come this, I want a different color. What if I come this way? Is that another Z? Okay, so I still have alternate interior. Lines are still parallel, and the alternate interior angles are congruent. So now this is a Y. Is that a Y?
Yeah.
And that's a Y. Well, that helps us a lot, doesn't it? We know Y is equal to Y. I'm glad we knew that. All right, so now what do we want to do? Have we gotten everything?
Now, you can draw a Z going the other way.
Okay, let's do a Z going the other way. Yes,
Is 42B and all those C? Like,
those are Z's.
so, right, step C.
Yes. Okay, so I to do the Z this way. Is that what you're saying?
Use the red.
Oh, okay. So now, yeah, I could. So now what do we know about those? We know W equals what?
20.
W is equal to 20. All right, if this is 87, we know this is 87. And now we need the Y's. What is W?
20.
20. Okay, so now this is what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to do this one. I'm going to trace these sides. So what does this form? A C. However, what's involved? This angle, which is not 42 and not 20, but what?
60.
62. And then this angle, which is not just 87 and not just Y, but
87.
87 plus Y is what?
180.
180. So now 149 plus Y equals 180. You subtract 149 and you're going to get 31.
Yes.
Okay. That was an interesting problem. Any other questions? Yes.
But I did.
Yes, go ahead.
I added up all the angles that we knew.
Uh-huh.
And it was 2y, so I subtracted my sum from 360. And
Oh, okay.
divided it by 2.
Okay, because the sum of the angles of a quadrilateral are 360. Lucas, what did you have? 15 through 17. All right, so it's all about tracing the sides of the angle. All right? I'm attempting to find it. You don't like this, huh?
I want that 2.6.
Here we go. This is period 2. And we're on our way. Our recorder is Ethan. Then you don't get a homework pass.
Yeah, but
The whole purpose is to work on a homework pass. Okay, so if we look at, I'm going to get them set up, but you're going to have to solve them. Is that fair?
that's useless.
Okay, so we are doing 15. Okay, again, it's all about what letter is formed. This is x minus 50. This is x, and they've told us that these are parallel. If I were to trace the sides of x and x minus 50, we have a letter that is formed, and that letter is, Mackenzie? And what gives you a U? What kind of angles? Have your foldables out. It could be a C, C or U, however you look at it. Same side interior. Same side interior. So your foldables should be out, and if you've taken the notes you're supposed to have taken, there should be easy questions. So what's this relationship, Alexandra? Same side interior angles are supplementary. That means add to 180. So now what am I going to do with my expressions based on what we know the relationship is? Madison K. King? Equals? Right. Okay, so Lucas, you're going to have to finish from there. Okay, so now when you look at 16, and again, it's when we have diagrams like, did you think the book was harder? Okay, but if you trace the sides, it takes the mystery out of it. So this is 3x minus 10, and this is x plus 40. So if you trace the sides, this side and this side, we have a letter that is formed. The letter that is formed is what, Maria? And what kind of angles form an F, Samantha? Last call to get your foldables out. They should be in front of you.
Wait, what's the last person?
Samantha.
Watch, you can get it right.
Get these foldables out. Does anybody in the first group have a foldable? F's are corresponding. So we know these are corresponding angles. So what kind of relationship does corresponding angles have? That goes on the foldable, Elbert. Lines parallel, corresponding angles congruent. So based on that relationship, what are we going to do? This goes to Stephanie. What equation do you write? 40. That's bad 40. Yes. So from there you have to solve. So now if we look at 17, they have told us that these lines on the side are parallel. This is parallel to this. They've told us that this is 5x and that this is 4x. So if we were to trace the sides of my 5x and my 4x, a letter is formed, and that letter that is formed is a what, Madison King? It's a U. So what type of angles are these? Same side interior. And if they are same side interior angles, then the relationship is what, Madison? You got a homework class? Pardon? Lines are parallel, same side interior angles are supplementary. Based on this statement, tells you how to write your equation. Your equation, Eric, is going to be what? Okay, what does supplementary mean? They add to? Yes. So that's it. What do you do with these two things? Up and set them equal to? Exactly. This is what's going to tell you right here. That step B is going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So you have 9x equals 180, and you solve from there. All right, so I'm going to start the lesson. I want to thank Madison for her book. All right, so over the weekend, the two angles I gave you formed a letter. Today, what we're going to do is you're going to have to work for that relationship, but it's using the same 6 things that your quiz is on. So this is the deal. You're going to have to explain why angle 1 is congruent to angle 16. I don't know what page this is, because what happens is when I add pages, it looks like I've added 1 page, so I don't know. Does it say what page this is? It says 16, but it's probably really 15. This is still 3-2. I would print 3.3. Yes. All right, so here we go. So this is a transversal right here, and this is also a transversal. Here is 1, and here is 16. These are not alternate exterior because they're on 2 different transversal. 1 and 14 are alternate exterior. 16 and 3 are alternate exterior. We can't go from here over to here. We have to work our way. So in order to work our way, we can either start with 1 and go across, or 1 and go down. Bryce, what do you want to do? Start at 1 and go across or down? Yes. What do you want to do, Bryce? Okay, we're going to go across. So going across, I need someone, and that will be Lizzie. Lizzie, angle 1 is congruent to what angle? Angle 1 is congruent. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Why? What kind of angles are those? Big letters. Okay, 3 is inside the pair. Yes. Do they form an F? Alternate exterior would be 1 and 8. 3 is in between the parallels. Okay. I don't know if you had to go sideways on your homework. If lines parallel, this would be corresponding angles congruent. All right, so now that puts us at 3. We need to move towards 16. So I need something that's, so now we're moving down. Brittany, 3 is congruent to what? Angle, which one? 10's way over here. So we have to stay along this transversal. Okay, so if we look at 3, I don't have a highlighter. If we look at 3, I need a different color. If we look at 3 and we look at 11, what is formed? An F, meaning angle 3 is congruent to angle 11. And that's going to be for my same reason, correct? All right, so we have to back up a minute. So I'm going to back up. We'll be back in a minute. So if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. This is called the transitive property. Okay? You probably should have had these in algebra, but we're going to review it again. Notice that you've got A equal to B and you've got C equal to B. Does it make sense that A has to equal C?
Yes.
You've got 2 things that are equal to the same thing. They have to be equal. All right. So if you see angle 1 equals angle 2, and you see angle 2 is equal to angle 3, what can you conclude? Angle 1 equals angle 3, or angle 3 equals angle 1. And what would the reason be? It's called transitive property. If I told you angle 4 was equal to angle 7 and angle 16 is equal to angle 7, what can you conclude? Angle 4 equals angle 16, and what would the reason be? Transitive. That's transitive. I just cannot spell today. Transitive is a very sophisticated way of a special kind of substitution. I could have said, you know what, I'm going to remove angle 7 and I'm going to insert angle 4. That would be called substitution. But transitive is a whole lot more sophisticated. So let's go back and let's look at what we've got. Hold on, we're not 1 and 16 vertical? No, because they're not on the same. Yeah. You could have gone there, yes. All right, this is not the only way to do this. All right, what can you tell me about this statement? 1's congruent to 3, 3's congruent to 11. What must be true?
Angle 1 is
Wait a minute, Samantha? Angle 1 is congruent to angle 11. Why? Why? Transitive. All right, so now what we've got is we're at 11. Where are we headed? 16. There is a relationship between 11 and 16. Bryce, what would that relationship be? Let me trace the sides. Here's 11, and there's 16. You know, it's more than a T. It's an X. What angles form an X? It's not on there. It's from before.
I have no idea.
Okay? It was from today. You should have taken that in those notes today. Lucas? No. Lucas, what angles form an X? Vertical. So angle 11 and angle 16 are congruent. All right, now Bryce, taking these two pieces of things in consideration, what do you know?
They're all equal.
Angle 1 equals 11. 11 equals 16. What's your conclusion?
1 and 16 are equal.
Now, what's that reason?
What do you mean?
Why?
Because 1 and 11 are equal and 11 and 16 are equal.
What's that called?
Transitive.
That's transitive. Okay? That's our thinking process. This is a thinking process you're going to go through today, because what I'll do is I'll say 1 equals 2x plus 3 and 16 is 5x plus 4. So then after this you would do the algebra, but we got to go through the thinking process. So Lucas noticed something. We were at angle 1's congruent to angle 3. We were at angle 3 is congruent to angle 11, all right? And this was, both of these were because if lines parallel, corresponding angles were equal. Okay? Then we said angle 1's congruent to angle 11, and that was transitive. Now this is where Lucas would have gone in a different direction. What he saw is he saw that look at angle 3 and look at angle 16. They form disconnected V's or L's. What kind of angles are those? Alternate exterior. So he could have said, and actually he wouldn't have gone there. 1's congruent to 3. No. He would have gone there, but he would have done this here. He would have said that angle 3 is congruent to angle 16, and now the corresponding part is only for the top. All right. I wonder if that disconnected him. No. There. That is for the top, and this one he would have said if lines parallel, alternate exterior angles equal. And then y is, here we go, if we know that angle 1 is equal to angle 3, Lizzie, and we know 3 is congruent to 16, what do we know? Y. Okay. Did Lucas get there faster than we did? Yes. Is it a race to see who can do it the quickest? It is, can I follow your train of thought, and is your train of thought good? Okay? So, let's look at one that talks about supplementary. So, we want to prove supplementary to 11. So, here is we're starting with 2. So, are we going to go across or are we going to go down? Who makes this decision? Caitlin. We're going to go across. Name an angle that 2 is congruent to. What's the relationship between 2 and 3? Okay, so they're not congruent, but we can go there. So we're going to say angle 2 and angle 3 are supplementary. Why are we saying supplementary? Because they form a C, because if lines parallel, same side, because I don't like to write a lot of words, same side interior angles supplementary. You can add the if lines are parallel, then same side interior angles are equal, or are sub. You can do that. All right, so now we have the supplementary relationship. That's there. And we're at 3. What we now have to do is, through congruence, match 3 somehow to 11. So how are we going to do that? Madison King. She's on her second homework pass. We're at 3. What is 3 congruent to? Okay, but we need to move towards 11. Nine is over here, so we can't use 9. We have to follow the same transversal. Yes. And what kind of angles are those? Yes. Corresponding angles are congruent. Now, look at what we've got. We need to say 2 is supplementary to 11, correct? All right, we have got 2 and 3. But what do you know about 3 and 11? So can I remove 3 and can I insert 11 in its place? And will I get angle 2 and angle 11 being supplementary? This is not transitive. This is not transitive because this is the word and this is congruent. Transitive is all about congruence. So they're supplementary because of substitution. We just did substitution. And I think you all did this a lot less steps than first period. To be transitive, no. But to use transitive, you have to have all congruence. 3 and 11 are corresponding angles. That's why they're congruent. Yep. Yes. What's above 11 here? That was a 3. Okay? Because 3 is congruent to 11, I removed the 3 pretty much and inserted 11 in its place to get 2 and 11 being supplementary. Yes. Yes, I'm putting first period, which the microphone over there had to pick up, and this microphone is now working. So, yes, I'm going to put both of them. Yes, yes. Okay, so now, this is what we did this question first period. So I'm going to delete this question, and we're going to do this question this period, so you'll have both of them up there. All right, so here we go. They're telling us that 14, where's 14? That this is 3x minus 5. This is where our algebra comes in. And they're telling us 7 is 2x plus 35. That should be on the bottom of a page. I deleted the top question. If I look at this, it should be on there, I think. It's the second, yes, bottom of 17. Okay, so here because at the top I did first period. All right, here we go. So we can either start with 14 or we can start with 7. What are we going to start with, Alexandra? We're going to start with 7. Are we going to move across or are we going to move down? We're going to go this way or this way? Down. We're going to go down. All right, going down, working with 7. What can you tell me? Stephanie? What? Angle 7, what? And 11 are what? Okay, let's look at their sides. What letter do they form? They're same side interior. So we know 7 and angle 11 are what then? They're supplementary. Why? If lines parallel, same side interior angles are what? add to 180. Okay, now we're at 11. Where are we headed? We're headed towards 14. All right, is there a relationship there already? Garrett? We're at 11. We need to move towards 14. Can we do that now? Okay, what type of angles are those? So alternate interior angles are what? So if lines parallel, alternate interior angles congruent. All right, so we need a relationship between 14 and 7. So 11 is congruent to 14.
So can't you just cross out the 11 there? Yeah.
So what we had, this is not a congruence. So what we have to do is we got to say, well, okay, if 11 is congruent to 14, then basically what's the relationship between 7 and 14? Yes, 7 and 14 are supplementary. And that was substitution. We substituted. Uh-huh. Between 7 and 14? I know that. That's why we had to go through this thinking process to get the relationship. Okay? It's not going to be as obvious as last night. So now what are we going to do? So if they're supplementary, I need to write an equation. What equation will I be writing? Actually, Garrett, what equation will you be writing? Yes. Excellent. And he based that on the fact that they were supplementary. We've got 5x plus 30. Because how are you going to know the relationship between 7 and 14? No. I will not accept doing it in your head. I want to see the process. Because tomorrow it's all about the process. If you trace the sides of 7 and you trace the sides of 14, it's no letter we've talked about. They're not on the same transversal.
How do you know which one to use then?
Oh, we could have gone from 7 to 5 corresponding. We could have gone from 5 to 13 corresponding and seen the linear pair.
So it's good to add that.
Right. I mean, and you've got to put it all together. Ethan.
Could you have said, like, or traced angle 7, angle 13?
Angle 7, no.
Are we ending here?
Yes. Now listen, this is important. We're on 7. We started on 7. Think about this as a street map, okay? You're on the corner of Broad Street and Maple. All right? There is no way that you can hop over to, let's say this is 2nd Street. You're either going to have to go down Broad Street or you're going to have to go down Maple Street. You with me? And then once you get to this corner, then you can move towards 14, or when you get to this corner, then you can move over. So now let's go to find the measure of angle 4. We're not finished. X is 30. Where is 4? 4 is up here. What is 4 related to? 7. How are these related? So if you know 7, can you get 4? So the measure of angle 4 is the same as the measure of angle 7, which we know to be 2x plus 35. So that's going to be 2 times 30 plus 35, which is 60 plus 35, which is 95. So this is the thinking process I have to see in order for you to write this equation, and yes, you must justify. So you're going to leave your homework on this table. I think tonight the only homework you have is the worksheet.